Tonight, a burglar is caught in the act trying to enter a home in Carolee. An event urging women to attend without underwear is cancelled after outrage from social advocates. And as tensions continue to mount between Iran and the U.S., a veteran St. Lucian journalist weighs in and questions whether it's a distraction. We have the details of these stories and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Monday, the 6th of January 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. We're on Flow Channel 117. The broadcast is also being simulcast on Kiss FM. You can watch via our website www.caribbeanhottv.com, on our Facebook page, or our free Caribbean Hot FM mobile app. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. A planned event asking patrons to attend without underwear has been cancelled after the concept sparked outrage and concerns among members of the public, mainly women's rights activists. President of Raise Your Voice St. Lucia, Catherine Seelys, is calling for more transparency on the gravity of the island's rape culture. Rochelle Gonzalez reports.
The power of protest prevails after an event dubbed vulgar and a potential invitation to rape and assault was cancelled after stirring up an uproar. The event was called Hypnotize, No Underwear Pool Edition, and was set for the 1st of February 2020. Almost as soon as the event was advertised on social media, it was picked up by a number of concerned citizens, mainly women and women's rights activists, who thought the entire notion was in poor taste and demeaning to women, a particular sore point being the promise to award the first 50 ladies to walk in with no underwear with a shot of Hennessy. Raise Your Voice President Catherine Seelys said when she first heard about the event, she thought it was a joke.
The government of St. Lucia, it is about time they have standards for shows. Because if they had standards for shows and somebody reviewing the standards, people would not feel so bold as to tell young women, come without underwear and I'll give you a shot of rum. And I find that was disrespectful. It created an environment for rape, for sexual assault, for violence, and then you have absolutely no voice of authority on those matters. All you have is people complaining about it because they're afraid for their children. But there is no voice of authority on violence against women in St. Lucia. And I consider this violence against women. When you tell women to come without underwear, who's going to prove that they don't have underwear? Somebody's going to lift up their clothes to see that they don't have underwear?
Seelys went on to say that she wishes the promoters of the event, who are mostly female, were adequately educated on the possible impact of such an event.
I don't judge them. What I am saying, they are uneducated, they are unaware. And this is the problem. The government of St. Lucia does not create awareness and public education on matters pertaining to respect, to equality, to rule of law. So everybody feel they can go rogue at will. This is the problem. The women did not do that. They really think we were just having our fun and doing our promotion. And I said, can you have better promotions? Can you think of something better? Do you have a child? Do you have a daughter? And they seem to be offended because they think they're not doing anything wrong, simply because nobody has told them or educated them to the fact that what they are doing is fundamentally wrong, and it jeopardizes and it puts women and girls in serious danger.
The Raise Your Voice president said the government of St. Lucia needs to be more transparent and reflect the true depths of the problem of violence against women, as the current representation is not being forthcoming.
I spent some time at United Nations. The perception is St. Lucia is on the religious right side, because they don't want to talk about LGBTQI rights. They don't want to talk about women's rights. They don't talk about girls' rights. They say a family is a nuclear family, a man, woman, and a child. They say they don't want to talk about abortion rights. They don't want to talk about anything which will give us our rights. And then you understand why people get away with these things, because our parliamentarians, instead of representing the general view of St. Lucian, they represent their personal views and beliefs, and then they take it on the international stage, and people view us as religious fundamentalists in this 248 square mile island.
Seelys said the rape culture in St. Lucia is beyond serious and needs to be dealt with urgently. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
A burglar was caught in the act of trying to unlawfully enter a home in Caroline. The homeowner is urging people to take the necessary steps to protect their property, like she did.
One homeowner is counting her blessings after security measures which she took to protect her house were successful in preventing a burglar from entering her property. She said this was not the first time that this has happened, and she is relieved that the attempts were unsuccessful.
It was around 11:45 a.m. Friday morning. Somebody tried to enter my home, but he was unable to enter because of the house was well protected with the bars and everything.
And now you caught the image of the perpetrator?
Yes, we did. We have it on the camera.
Now tell us about that. How you feel about the fact that he was caught?
Well, I'm happy he was caught so people can see who he is. But I do not, as a second time, I do not feel anyhow. I'm not afraid. As a matter of fact, I'm not afraid because I can check my camera on my phone anytime.
The homeowner urged other homeowners like herself, as well as renters, to take the necessary steps to protect their property.
I advise them to do the same thing, put video cameras and surveillance cameras at their house, so if something is happening to their home, they can see on their phone.
According to the homeowner, after the unsuccessful burglary attempt, the assailant went on to burglarize the house of one of her neighbors who was at home at the time with her young children. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
The news that President of the United States Donald Trump ordered a drone strike that killed Iran's top generals sent shockwaves throughout the world and caused the hashtag World War III to trend on social media. History is seemingly repeating itself. That's according to veteran journalist Earl Bousquet, as he likens the actions of President Trump to that of then-impeached President Bill Clinton, who waged war during his impeachment process. However, the journalist says, distraction or not, Iran will not stand quietly. Bousquet notes that if retaliation efforts happen, Latin American and Caribbean islands will suffer from the effects of any nuclear war.
With 10 more months to face re-election, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, seemingly with his back against the impeachment wall, has pulled an outrageous act of misdirection. That's according to veteran journalist Earl Bousquet. He says President Trump is simply following in the footsteps of past presidents before him, when faced with a threat to power, simply wage war.
President Bill Clinton, while his impeachment hearings were happening, unleashed attacks against Iraq and Sudan. But that distraction didn't distract from him being impeached. He was impeached. President Trump has been impeached by the lower house, or the House of Representatives, the elected representatives, and he would like to be unimpeached by the Senate, but the Democrats only need 5 more votes. And with every possibility approaching that the Democrats just might get those 5 votes on the basis of Republicans questioning the collusion, he has done what Clinton did, and he has launched a war of distraction. The difference, however, is that this distraction under President Trump, in his efforts to make America great again, has launched what hopefully not, but possibly can be, World War III.
Iran has declared it will no longer abide by any restriction imposed by the 2015 nuclear deal called the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA. Bousquet says if any shots are fired, Latin America and the Caribbean will be caught in the crossfire.
While President Trump thinks he has just taken out the head of what the United States describes as a terrorist organization, what he has just done is created another martyr for the Iranian revolution. And if you look on the TV and you see the millions of Iranians who are paying reverence to him, it is quite possible that knowingly or unknowingly President Trump might have virtually pressed the nuclear button. And if the Iranians, in their moment of rage, because they have promised to respond, that response is sure to come. What is uncertain is when, how, and where. Should the Iranians, God forbid, decide to teach Trump and America a lesson by pressing their nuclear button first. Us in Latin America and the Caribbean living in the shadow of the United States are equally at risk as people in the United States, because a cloud of nuclear dust is all that's needed to turn the Caribbean into a nuclear graveyard.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel, French President Emmanuel Macron, and UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson issued a joint statement calling for a de-escalation of the tensions between Iran and the US. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Sola Jalford.
Meanwhile, huge crowds packed the streets of the Iranian capital, Tehran, for the funeral of military commander Qasem Soleimani. Soleimani was assassinated in a U.S. drone strike in Iraq on Friday on the orders of U.S. President Donald Trump. Iran has vowed severe revenge for the death of Soleimani, and on Sunday it pulled back from the 2015 nuclear accord. State television showed huge crowds in Tehran for the event. It put the numbers for the funeral at millions, although this is yet to be verified. Some people cried while others clutched pictures of the late commander. Mourners passed Soleimani's coffin over their heads, and "Death to America" chants were heard. Soleimani's daughter warned the U.S. that it faced a dark day. This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, environmentalist Dr. James Fletcher is raising concern about the serious effects of ongoing fire on the continent of Australia. Faces of Cancer debunks common myths about cervical cancer. And former Barbados Prime Minister Owen Arthur gets on board with Riyadh. That and more coming up after the break.